Well, it depends on us. It really depends on us. It could go in a very bad direction from this point. We're right on a knife edge at the moment. What is this shift that is happening in the world today? I've found that most people want the freedom to be able to go down the shop and buy their food. They want the freedom to be able to buy a house somewhere. They want the freedom to work at whatever job they wish to work at. Freedom to marry who they please, drive whatever car they would like to drive, and to run whatever business they would like to run. And they're prepared to pay whatever costs are incurred by doing all of these things. But of course, all of these things also include the freedom to pay taxes, the freedom to do what you're told, and the freedom to walk between the lines and follow whatever rules the politicians give you to follow. I mean, why do you have to buy a house? Why shouldn't you be given a house simply because you're alive? Why do you have to pay to be alive? If you wish to marry someone, why do you need to purchase a marriage license and get the government involved and turn it into a three-way contract? Isn't it between you and the person you love? If so, why do you need to get the government involved? Well, that's right, it's because of the economic value that's attached to your love, to your wedding, and it's information you may need in the settlement should you ever get divorced, because you need to look at all the economics of the whole thing. But really, what does economics have to do with love? And if you're going to place conditions on the person that you're marrying and you wish to create a prenuptial agreement and all this sort of stuff, well, do you really love the person? Or is your marriage simply a matter of economics? But that's what freedom is to people. It's freedom to conduct their life in an economic manner. Freedom to purchase what they want to purchase. Freedom to be enslaved to a corporate system. And what it also means for many people is the freedom to point and complain about all these control mechanisms while demanding their freedom. But really, what freedom is it that they're wanting? What is this freedom for most people? Because most people don't actually want to be free. Most people simply want to complain about not being free, but they don't actually want to be free, because freedom is 100% self-responsibility. Well, it depends on us. It really depends on us. It could go in a very bad direction from this point. We're right on a knife edge at the moment. Everything that's happening, so many people have been predicting it to happen this way for so long. And we're seeing now, particularly with David Cameron's recent speech that we were talking about before, he's attempting to associate online activism and essentially any criticism of government with violent terrorist organisations, saying that online activism is as dangerous as ISIS. And really what he's saying is online criticism is as dangerous as ISIS. And we're seeing this happening right across the board in all of our countries. We're seeing it in Australia, we're seeing it in Canada. We've seen a bill that they're talking about introducing in Canada, C51, which basically criminalises any criticism of government. So we're seeing where it's going. It's becoming very, very dangerous to criticise anything these people are doing. And they're doing this because they're scared, because so many people are talking out about things now. They've really shot themselves in the foot in the last probably 18 months with what they've done in Gaza Strip, with what they've done with ISIS, a lot of what they've done in Syria. I mean, we had huge protests to stop the war in Syria, and they've just cooked up this whole ISIS threat, and they've gone ahead and done it anyway. So, people are waking up to it. That's what freedom is. It certainly isn't anything else. I mean, it isn't freedom of choice. Freedom of choice is part of freedom, but freedom of choice is not freedom. Freedom is 100% liability for all your actions, everything you say and do. That's what true freedom is. True freedom is owning yourself and being responsible for that. And what I've found is that most people, even those who complain the loudest about not being free, and in fact especially those who complain the loudest about not being free, are absolutely terrified of true freedom. Technology isn't freedom. I'd like to be free enough to not have to log onto the computer every day and go on the air every week gently asking people to wake up before we head into a nightmare transhumanist world where all freedom is lost. I'd much prefer not to have to do that. And, we're seeing now the steps they're willing to take to prevent us from speaking out. And it could go either way. Either they're going to lock us down completely, or people are going to see it for what it is, which is an opportunity to speak out. Because there's a lot of people now that have gone down all these rabbit holes, all these legal rabbit holes, lose their name, win the game, all this sort of stuff. But that's only going to work now while the system is pretending that it still obeys its own laws. If people don't put all the information that they've gathered through all of these rabbit holes they've gone down, if they don't put it into action now, then we may head for a very dangerous place. But I'm still optimistic. I think that we will get through it. I think that it's all opportunity. If people can maintain a calm demeanour and be polite and eloquent and just speak the truth and maintain the moral high ground in all that they do, I don't think the system's got a leg to stand on. And I think the more it comes for people such as myself, the more this will be demonstrated to the public. And so I personally can't wait until people wake up to the fact that they actually are free, should they choose to be so. It's time for us all to get together. We've got to stop fighting amongst ourselves. We've got to stop looking for the one perfect remedy that's going to be given to us on a silver platter. We've got to start thinking about ourselves, realise that remedy starts at home. It starts in your own heart. No one can come and fix your life for you. No one can offer you a system that's going to work, because it's a control system, whatever it is. If it's a system, then it's a control system. And we don't need a control system. What we need is to always operate from our hearts in all that we do, to live in a state of service for creation, but also putting ourselves on an equal par with everybody else. Well, free speech is freedom. That's what it is. I mean, it's interesting, it's an interesting dichotomy, because they're saying that they're bringing in all of these rules and all of these regulations in order to keep us safe so that we can maintain our freedoms. And yet one of the rules and guidelines they're putting in place is basically banning free speech, which is what freedom is. Freedom of expression, freedom to be yourself, freedom to have an opinion on whatever topic you want to have an opinion on. I mean, this is what freedom is. If they're going to ban this, then how free are you? People need to look at this. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, we've seen this in France. We saw the Charlie Hebdo shootings in Paris, which we say was an attack against free speech because someone had put an anti-Muslim cartoon in a magazine, and people got shot over it. And they say this is an attack against free speech. You should be able to say whatever you want. And then a couple of weeks later, someone got arrested for questioning the Holocaust, which is simply investigating an issue and asking questions about it. And this is free speech. And he was jailed, and he was jailed under the free speech legislation that they brought in place because of Charlie Hebdo. So, people have got to see that this is it's doublespeak. Everything they're doing is doublespeak. The emotion of fear often works overtime. Even when there is no immediate threat, our body will remain tight and on guard, our mind narrowed to focus on what might go wrong. When this happens, fear is no longer functioning to secure our survival. We are caught in the trance of fear, and our moment-to-moment experience becomes bound in reactivity. We spend our time and energy defending our life, rather than living it fully.